joy where you can is essential to getting through this because, my friends, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. History tells us that these huge changes are marathon length. We will be doing this a long time. I don't want to freak anybody out, but Pluto is in Aquarius for like 28 years, starting now. We could be evolving and revolting and evolving again and transforming for the next 2 to 3 decades. And that's beautiful and exciting. Hey y'all, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Megan Winkler, and we are a day late this week, but certainly not $1 short. I'm not sure where that saying comes from, but it's always struck me as kind of a funny one. The TLDR version of the story is we are basically on solar power here at the house, and with the storm that ran through most of the US this last weekend, we were kind of low on our battery power. So we definitely never lost electricity, anything like that. But we did have some challenges keeping the Wi-Fi up. Interestingly enough, just the way our system is built, my office is one of the rooms that does not get power when we have to go into like kind of battery saver mode. And so that's also where our Wi-Fi lives. I was not about to try and record this podcast using the hotspot on my phone. Like I'm wacky. I am not that wacky. So we are a day late this week, but that is okay. I promise it will be worth the wait because this week I am talking about how to show up when the world is on fire. And I want to acknowledge that we have a tumultuous atmosphere. And unlike other periods in history, like the Civil Rights Movement, the Vietnam War, when we would have things televised, they were on the TV and we could switch the TV off and walk away. They were in the newspapers and we could not pick up the newspaper. The internet is ubiquitous. The news is everywhere. It's on social media. It's in every part of this little gadgets, apps, and everything. So it's really hard to get away from all of the tragedies. And the tragedies happen every single damn day. And so there's a lot of us that are feeling overwhelmed. We're feeling grief. We're feeling guilt. We're feeling anger and helplessness and hopelessness and fear and urgency. And there's just kind of this undercurrent of kind of feeling like your heart's always racing. You know, we're losing sleep. We're dreaming about ice. Not the stuff that falls from the sky either. We're very worried about ourselves, about our neighbors, about our families and friends. And so it's normal to ask yourself something like, how do I live my normal life? Feeling like everything is on fire, like everything is just crazy pants. How do I live a normal life when I open my social media accounts on Saturday and I see someone murdered? How do I do that? The thing is we are dynamic beings. And now more than ever, it's equally important to stay informed and also to hold on to any whimsy you have, any joy, any things that make your heart happy. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like and how you can navigate those conflicting feelings of feeling both horrified and experiencing small joys in your life. In fact, I sat down yesterday because I couldn't record the podcast. I actually wrote an article and I'm going to post it. It's probably going to live on my website. It's definitely going to go on my Substack, Glow Up by Design. So you can check it out there. I'll actually, I'll send out an email. If you're not on my email list, you need to hop on that thing. It's meganwinkler.com. Top right corner, subscribe to my emails. It's the best place to hang out on the internet, in my opinion. Um, but I wrote a whole article about it. And, you know, on the same days that we were seeing Alex Preddy be killed by ICE officers in Minneapolis, I was also seeing Monday morning a colleague on LinkedIn sharing about her new grandbaby was born over the weekend. You know, people celebrate birthdays and anniversaries and accomplishments. And we need to continue selling in our business. So, for my business owners listening to me, the stuff happening in the world does not diminish your work. It does, however, mean that you might need to pivot a couple things here and there and be responsive to what's going on in the world. So, you know, when bad thing happens, if you already have a campaign scheduled or a launch scheduled, maybe give it 12 hours. Just, I leave it up to you. But it's something to think about. It's like, okay, we realize the world is not business as usual. So sometimes we have to switch our business up a little bit. And I'll get into that. Excuse me. But what we have right now is we have this desire to stay informed and this desire to not be emotionally flooded. We want to help. We don't want to be exhausted. We want to make sure that our activity and our action is going someplace where it does good in the world. And also, like, you want to binge watch something on Netflix and not feel guilty, right? So here's the thing, is we need to absolutely regulate our nervous systems, because if we have an unregulated nervous system, we are no good to anybody. We're not good for ourselves. We're not good for our family, our clients, our friends, our community, all of these things. Because quite honestly, I know you know this, and sometimes it helps to hear somebody else say it. We are living in a very rapid news cycle. We are living with constant exposure to global suffering. We are living with AI is just proliferating. AI is proliferating across the globe. It's like a lot of times we have to ask ourselves, is this real? Is this not? Is this real? Is this not? Algorithms also are designed to keep us activated and actively engaged, because the longer we spend on a platform, the more energy we spend on it, the longer we stay there, the more money they are apt to earn from us, right? Because that small business you love that has a sponsored ad, Meta, for example, is getting the ad revenue from that, right? And you want to support small businesses, right? You want to support the artisan down the street or the mom and pop restaurant around the corner, So it's like you want to stay in tune with what's going on, but not immersed in it. Our nervous systems are not designed for the 24/7 crisis awareness that we are continually in. It's so interesting to me. I started rewatching Mad Men during like the Christmas break. And I'm in season 4 now, so kind of in the middle of it. It's 1965, and it's just so interesting because they, included things like the Kennedy assassination in there when JFK was shot in Dallas. And, just how people reacted and responded to that. And then they were able to turn the TV off. And it's like, oh, right. There's not really a TV to turn off. There's a phone to turn off. And part of that, too, is that we're witnessing trauma without agency, without consent in some ways. And I mean, when we talk about having a choice of whether or not to see someone get shot in the street, it gets a little crunchy. I feel like I need to tread carefully here when I say that Alex Preddy's agency and consent was completely disregarded when he was murdered, right? For a long time, trigger warnings and content warnings have been used to reduce harm. I think they're great. They've been made fun of a lot of times, I think in some capacities, they might be used when they don't necessarily need to be used. Like I listened to a couple of true crime podcasts. It's like going into it, I know it's going to be horrible. And so they don't have a content warning on every episode. However, when it's something especially sensitive, they do, right? So like, I feel like context matters when we're talking about our content warnings. But a lot of the videos that circulated this weekend did not have any sort of content warning, any sort of trigger warning. And it's like, oh my God. So I want you to make no mistake, this is collective trauma. This is collective nervous system overload. And the argument can very easily be made that that is the point. But we're not going to get into that because this is a taking care of yourself, glowing up, breaking up with burnout podcast, not a political one. But that doesn't mean we don't get a little political. Because y'all know me. Y'all know me. So what does this collective nervous system overload look like? It looks like hypervigilance. It looks like freeze and shutdown. It looks like being overextended, being overwhelmed, not knowing what to do next, feeling like the next thing you do doesn't matter. It's in a continual rage and despair cycle that we can get in. If we're lucky, we have rage, we have despair, and then we have hope or optimism woven in there. But I'm going to hopefully help you see that you can be both aware without being constantly activated. Okay. So if you've read my book, you know I have a whole chapter about shame in breaking up with burnout. It's funny, I've been using this for a workshop. I thought I would just present my book, Breaking Up with Burnout. But I have a whole chapter on shame in there, and that's actually where this bookmark is at if you're watching on video. Because shame is an emotion that we can feel when we're burned out, but more often it is the emotion we feel that leads us to burnout. It's an emotion and a state of being almost that the world will put us into, and we will put ourselves there as well. So there's a lot of unspoken rules that many people carry around. And these are rules we've kind of created and reinforced for ourselves. So it's like, if I rest, I don't care. If I'm not posting, donating, sharing all the time, I'm complicit. If I feel joy, I'm being insensitive. There's like this whole there's other people that are having it so much worse than I am. Like, I should just be grateful and shut up. Okay, this leads to empathic and energetic burnout. It leads to activism burnout. It leads to a collapse of your internal system. And so you just stop being active instead of being sustainably engaged. Okay. So sustainability is both an ethical and a value-based choice. And what I mean by that is that creating sustainability in your energy honors you, honors the people you work with, honors your community, honors your family and your loved ones. When you rest, you're not disengaging. When you rest, you're actually regulating your nervous system. And again, you have to have a regulated nervous system in order to do the things that actually make a difference. You do not have to destroy your nervous system to help other people. And in fact, it doesn't help anybody if you're doing that. Okay, so there's 3 ways that you can show up. And I've kind of moved these around and classified them based on what your capacity looks like. So we all have like a daily energy budget, daily energy capacity. And so that might be low capacity, it might be medium or high capacity. And these are not one and done. These are not rigid rules for you to follow, but this gives you an idea and an outline of what you can do on days when you're feeling at a low capacity, medium capacity, or high capacity. So your low capacity days, I am calling for embodied regulation. You are a resourced, empowered human being. Do not let anyone, and I mean anyone or anything, convince you otherwise. When you wake up, you know where your capacity for the day lies. You can just kind of tap in and tell. Like you can tell if you're exhausted, if you slept well, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling meh, whatever. So on those low capacity days, we're going to go for embodied regulation. So we're going to limit your news intake intentionally. So that might actually mean like tuning out of social media for a while, quite honestly. We're going to practice grounding. So it's breathing exercises, meditation, walking in nature, walking meditation. Leave your phone at home. Oh my God. Don't listen to a podcast. Don't listen to an audiobook or music. Just get in nature. There's a regulating element to hearing the birds, hearing the wind. It slows us down. Move your body. Don't try to do a HIIT exercise. Don't try to do like some major like personal best lifting sessions. Actually just move your body with more intention. So maybe that's walking, or it's yoga, or it's getting on a vibration pad, or it's, just dancing in the privacy of your own home to a song you like. Staying embodied instead of dissociating, which looks like acknowledging your emotions, acknowledging what you're feeling, naming them, allowing yourself to process them, is going to help you overcome those low capacity days. Okay. So next, for those medium capacity days, we have relational presence. So this is where we're connecting with people in our lives, in our communities. We heal and grow together. The whole bullshit rhetoric of rugged individualism, pull you up by your bootstraps, blah, 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 is colonialism and white supremacy, and it's bullshit. We need each other. Okay. So when you are at medium capacity and you're going to move into this relational presence mode, this looks like checking in on your friends, sending a quick DM, a quick voice note. Maybe it's inviting them to an impromptu coffee. Maybe it's connecting over current events, and also just like regular life stuff. Like, what are your kids doing? Your pets doing? Like, what's going on in your job? Having these real conversations, making space for your whole self and all the emotions you're feeling is essential right here, because other people are feeling the same way. Last week, before Preddy was killed, I had 2 or 3, definitely 2 sessions where people just needed to chat and vent. And I held space for them, and they held space for me. And allowing each other to be in a safe space where you can talk about the tensions and the fears and the helplessness and the hopelessness, that is extremely healing and regulating. When we laugh with someone else, we're co-regulating. And being able to be emotionally available without trying to fix anything is huge. So when you're in this relational presence mode on these medium capacity days, just listen to each other. Listen to the words that come out of your mouth as well when you're talking to somebody else, because that's going to give you a whole lot of information about where your mind and your heart and your soul are at these days. All right, so now for our final mode to be in, which is external action. So these are for your high capacity days. This is when your energy is high and you're able to turn your attention fully outward. This is prime for donating, for volunteering, for calling, writing, emailing your representatives, for sharing resources with intention, for supporting your clients, your team members, your colleagues with actionable ideas that they can implement into their own lives. This is from the standpoint of what to do when you're stressed out, right? So when if you're a business owner, this of course is going to be those days where you sit down and you bust out a bunch of content. You bust out like several videos that you hang on to for your low and medium capacity days. Jump on the high capacity, high energy days when they happen, and don't overextend yourself and burn yourself out in a day, but use that energy. Use that time to understand, like, how do I reach out to my senators? What organizations locally need my support? All of that. And here's the cool thing is that even though your capacity changes throughout the week, it could be day by day that it changes, you can still pick and choose from this list and do something every day. Like maybe on your low capacity days, you send an email to your representatives. At least here in Texas, I can get on each of their websites and actually send them an email through the contact form. That goes in, a staffer has to read it, they have to record it. It's all part of the process. Kerry Washington, the actor, shared a great, very short script on her Instagram this week for what to call and say to your representatives. Your representatives are not answering the phone. If somebody happens to answer the phone, then all you have to do is read the script. It's low stakes in terms of, folks that have social anxiety, that sort of thing, phone anxiety. Most of the time, you're literally just calling in and leaving a voicemail. But then a staffer has to go through, has to listen to it, all of that, right? So maybe that's something that you can do on your medium capacity days. Okay, this is just a guide. These are ideas for you to pull from, mix and match from. Okay. I also want to talk a little bit about boundaries because I love me some good boundaries, right? So set some boundaries for yourself if you're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe it looks like I check the news once a day. Or my favorite is I'm only going to check the news from a few sources. And so I follow some independent news sources like Under the Desk News, Aaron Parnas. I also follow MS Now. When I go to check the news intentionally, I'm checking those people. I don't argue in the comments section is a great boundary to put in place. One of my personal boundaries is if I open up a comment section or I see part of a comment section, because sometimes it's previewed, and I see people are acting like morons, for lack of a better term. And if I start getting heated, the answer is to nope, move away, because I don't need to respond in anger. That doesn't help me. It doesn't help anybody else. It doesn't change the argument. The whole thing. I don't consume content right before bed is another great boundary because we need to relax. Now, some people that like to check in with like Heather Cox Richardson or some of these outlets and read right before bed because it helps them sleep. Do what makes sense for you, and make sure that when you're operating in your day-to-day life and also in your business that you have your energetic containers aligned. Make sure you're including one for some sustainable care for yourself and for your family and your friends. Set some boundaries around compassion fatigue. If you just find you just can't anymore for today, it's okay. I would much rather have someone unsure about what to post or do put their phone down and walk away from current events for a day and come back refreshed the next day with a clear head and adding something to the conversation than the opposite. Okay. Okay, last little bit here is I want to also encourage you and remind you that joy and beauty still exist. Joy is not a denial of the horrors of the world. Some of the most amazing works of art and literature and poetry come from war-torn times, come from times of great and horrific disaster. Beauty does not erase suffering. Laughter, art, ritual, nature, these are regulating forces. So too are the rituals in your business, the joys in your business, the connections. Historically, joy has always existed alongside resistance. It keeps us human in inhumane conditions. So anytime you feel guilty for taking some time for yourself, for indulging in something creative or artistic or joyful, please, please, I want you to remember this podcast episode and the posts that I'm going to be making all week. If I'm completely honest, I am going to be sharing about this because I believe so fully in the fact that owning a business, reading, creating, making art, finding joy, this is all part of resisting the systems of oppression that are around us. And other communities know this better than myself because they've had to deal with it for centuries, right? I don't want to ever diminish that. Finding joy where you can is essential to getting through this because, my friends, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. History tells us that these huge changes are marathon length. We will be doing this a long time. I don't want to freak anybody out, but Pluto is in Aquarius for like 28 years, starting now. We could be evolving and revolting and evolving again and transforming for the next 2 to 3 decades. And that's beautiful and exciting. You do not have to carry the whole world, though. You do not have to carry all of the guilt, the shame, the worry, the stress. It's okay to set some of this down. It's okay, and actually a really good thing, to reach out to important people in your life. What I mean by important people in your life, I mean the ones that are important to you. Reach out to your healers, your guides, your coaches, your spiritual advisors, your friends, your family, those safe people in your community, and come together. Come together. One of the most joyful things every month for me is my in-person witchy book club, the Book Coven. And we have cheered each other on. We have supported each other. We have laughed and cried together. We have made sure that we're updated on medical things, and, we're all prepped to help people move if we need to, all of this stuff be over just simple books that we read each month. We've developed a beautiful community for that. And that joy and that place of a sanctuary for a couple of hours, one evening each month, is a sustaining event in my month. And I know for the book club members as well, it is for them. Many of them say they look forward to it every month. It is a highlight of their month. So find something that's a highlight of your month or of your week or of your day. Find something that brings passion and joy and laughter into your day. Because, my friends, we need the joy. We need creation. We need you talking about what you do. We need your voice. We need your action. We need your energy, your spirit, your love. You are important. You are so, so important and so magical and so wonderful. And I hope that this episode has helped you today. Obviously, it's something I'm really passionate about. I got a little teary-eyed there for a minute. Thank you for being a safe place for me to express those emotions. I am going through it with you. I am here with you. There's days that I am uninspired as well. And days that I'm like, can I just stay under the blankets with Netflix and pretend the world doesn't exist? So that's all normal. It's all normal. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that you've wasted a day. None of that. We're here for the long run. My friends, if you need anything, please reach out to me. My email is hello@meganwinkler.com. Come join the Patreon. You can join for free. or you can choose to be in one of the paid tiers. Thank you to all my paid folks. You make this podcast possible and you support my energy in doing it. And that is the Glow Up Circle on Patreon. Come hang out on Instagram at It's Megan Winkler. I'm also on LinkedIn for my professional baddies listening. Let's hook up over there. Send me a connection request and let me know you heard me on the podcast if I don't already know you. And yeah, because we need more witchy, magical, amazing people over on LinkedIn too. And honestly, when you fill your feed full of them, it's like the coolest, funnest place to hang out. And if you want updates right in your inbox, head over to meganwinkler.com, click on that big red button in the top right corner, subscribe to my emails, and that'll actually get you, right now, it will get you onto a 4-day mini course delivered right in your inbox. So you can start your glow up, you can reset your nervous system, and you can set yourself up to break up with burnout in the long run, which, we really need. Really need this. I had no idea when I sat down to write my book that it would become such a powerful tool and so needed right now. So, and that's not to toot my own horn. That's just to say the universe, creativity, and imagination and the spirit world just work in just amazing ways. So you never know what you're going to create right now that we're going to need, that we're all going to need in a couple of years' time. I'll leave you with that. All right, my friends, take care of yourself. Stay hydrated, stay rested. Make sure you're taking all your pills, your vitamins, getting to your therapist if you have one, taking care of yourself. And of course, as always, stay magical. Bye for now.